Well, the big NFL news last night was out of Atlanta, where the Falcons have benched Kirk Cousins. They will roll with Michael Penix Jr., the rookie, against the Giants at home this weekend. Cousins, Colin, it's been a brutal last 5 games.
Yeah.
1 touchdown, 9 interceptions.
Got old fast.
Penix takes over. The Bucs are still just 1 game back in the South. I saw a stat that Kirk Cousins has been so bad that in the last game against the Raiders on Monday, they had 23 first down plays. They ran the ball on 22 of them. They're just like, Kirk's immobile. He can't do anything. He's limited. He's struggling. We're just going to run the football.
This
Colin,
is a little,
terrible.
You know what this is? This is a little Flacco Lamar Jackson. They wanted Flacco to last the year. They wanted Lamar to sit for the year. They got to week 11, and they're like, okay, it's not working. And then they went with him. A little earlier, probably, than they wanted. They knew he was good in practice. Well, Penix reportedly, Dan Orlovsky said he's hearing nothing but good things.
Well,
so I'm just telling you, he was great in college, a lot of starts. People
barely saw him in the preseason.
Well,
There's been opportunities to put him in this year.
But they shut him down. Remember, they shut him down, and Arthur Blank wrote a $180 million check. You're not going to do rotating quarterback when Arthur Blank's like, you guys talked me into signing him. You got to play him. And I think he would have been replaced 2 weeks ago if he had come off the street and it cost him $20 million. I think they would have moved off him 3 weeks ago. I think they wanted to make sure he was on fumes. And now, it may have been too late because the Bucs are hot and may just go into the playoffs on like a 7-game winning streak. But if Tampa falters and Penix is good, Atlanta wins the division because they have the tiebreaker.
So let's give Penix a quick second before we go back to Cousins. I'm a huge Penix guy. I loved him coming out.
Yeah.
Listen, Lamar just threw 5 touchdowns against the Giants. There's a Penix at home. Hopefully they open up the offense. I think he's got an opportunity to cook this weekend.
Yeah.
Do you think,
I think he's very good. Listen, the quarterback I worried about was always J.J. McCarthy because he played under Harbaugh's run-first system,
right.
surrounded. And my takeaway is, he just doesn't throw that much. He doesn't look big. Then I watched him in the preseason, and I thought, okay. But I thought Penix, Bo Nix, Jaden, and Caleb, I thought all of them, I thought it was going to be 4 out of 5. Penix, I never doubted. When I watched J.J. McCarthy, I was like, Michigan was turning and handing it to Blake Corum for the last 2 years with that O-line and D-line. But I think J.J., you cross your fingers on the MRI or whatever the surgery he had. But I always thought Penix, if I would have moved up for a quarterback, we knew Caleb was going 1, Jaden 2. I thought Penix, not J.J. McCarthy, would be the quarterback people moved up for.
Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, I don't know why J-Mac was saying, like, he was kind of like pushing back on Penix and how there was opportunities for them to play him and they didn't, when he said that Orlovsky said that he's heard nothing but good things. But now then he went and said, I'm a huge Penix fan, and in the pre-draft and all of that type of stuff. So I don't even understand that part, honestly. I think it was smart that they waited this long. I do. If their intention was to sit Penix, then you kind of stick to that. They did pay for Kirk Cousins. It looks like that may have been the wrong decision, but you just definitely want to make sure that you know that was 100% the wrong decision. You got to give him a few chances to kind of, get out of a rut, see if it is a rut, see if it is just his new ceiling, his new floor, whatever it may be. You do have to kind of still do your due diligence and kick the tires for Kirk Cousins. My only issue with starting Penix is that it's the end of the season, and we see how all these rookie quarterbacks struggled in the beginning of the season. And my problem is like if Penix doesn't look really good or solid in these last few games, then people are going to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then now you have to deal with that the entire off season. Now the reality is that there's still obviously playoff potential, and so that's why you're going to want to switch to Penix. But if there wasn't, I would make the argument, just don't play him at all. Let him just rest the whole season. Maybe have him play like 1 game, but like I don't even know. It really does depend on maybe how they look in practice, because it's hard to gauge how much a rookie quarterback that is going to be able to develop in practice and not actually playing in the games. We know sitting out for a year is absolutely going to benefit you, just for the sheer fact that you're just going to get integrated into what it's like to be in the NFL, what it's like to wake up and play professional football. It's not college, it's the NFL. It's different. Just the practices alone, the training facilities, it's just a different mentality. It's a different energy. You are in this protective bubble in college that you are just not in the NFL. It's just different. The money's different. The media's different. The fans are different. The energy's different. So that alone, even if we're just talking about strictly everything off the field, just getting integrated and experience with that is huge and really honestly benefits you significantly. There's a reason why lots of jobs pretty much have you, when throughout the training process in the very beginning, you don't even do anything hands-on. You literally just kind of sit there and observe, like all the important jobs, like being a lawyer, being a doctor, like any of these things that especially have like a lot of, lives at stake that have a tremendous amount of importance. The first part of training is really just to kind of do nothing and just observe. So that alone has, I'm sure paid dividends for Michael Penix Jr. But in terms of like, will this be a similar situation as to Lamar with Flacco? Yeah, I'm curious. The thing with Lamar was able to catch everyone so off guard because, yeah, we've obviously had mobile quarterbacks and all of that. But I feel like Lamar really was able to just kind of be that jolt to that mobile quarterback again. Right. I mean, it was Lamar who really just kind of shook it to the core, and he was supposed to be this next evolution of like the Michael Vick. And then, of course, obviously we have Mahomes and Josh Allen as well. But Lamar, I think, really just kind of like blew everyone away immediately. I don't think that's as possible right now because we've seen these quarterbacks because we've already seen Lamar Jackson. We've seen Jaden Daniels. We've seen Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Like we've seen this. So I'm not saying that Penix won't have success overall through a season. I just mean like I don't know if we'll be able to like really jolt the league and put the like shock the league like in seconds, kind of like what happened with Lamar in a lot of ways. Like Lamar really kind of was like a flash in the pan like immediately, and usually that's used in a way to be like in a more like negative short-term success. But I mean it just in terms of like the immediacy of the success was just kind of like whoa. And obviously it wasn't like perfect for Lamar. He obviously had some of his issues, but it still was kind of like, if you remember, like as soon as he kind of got on the field, it was kind of like the energy behind it was pretty boundless, quite frankly. I don't know if Penix is just going to have that impact, honestly. I really, really don't, considering how we've seen the season unfold for Caleb, for Bo Nix, for Jaden Daniels. I think him going up against the Giants is going to be a great first game, obviously, at home. You get to do it at home in your own home crowd. They'll be supportive. You're doing it against a team that's obviously awful. They want to lose. The Giants legitimately want to lose. So, this is pretty much like the next evolution of a preseason game practically. So I think this will be a good spot for him. And I'm excited to see him play. I want to see him play. And I think it'll be a good move. I just don't know what it means for the Falcons season as a whole this year, right? You have to expect that they're going to get this win. You also have to expect that Penix is you have to let him fail too. You have to have him have his rookie moments, have to have his bad moments. Again, every single quarterback has done that this year. Caleb, Bo, Jaden, like they've the seasoned veterans. So that's the thing. Like I just hope that the Falcons don't try to be like Penix, you need to save us from the season. Please lead us to the playoffs right now. Like that's more my concern than anything. And my point is that he doesn't have the the element of surprise that a Lamar Jackson had all those years ago with Baltimore. So the job is going to be harder for Penix to be able to be a savior in this immediacy of the moment. But I still think Penix can still have a tremendous amount of success. But I think we also have to give him plenty of room to be bad. To throw a pass that we were just like, oh my God, bro, you can't do that. For him to try to scramble and take a really bad sack for 15 yards. Like, because again, we've seen Bo Nix do it. We've seen Jaden do it. We've seen everyone do it. But that's the problem. When you're starting in week 16, nobody's like, most fans and media for that matter, we've already been trained to watch now for months. We're not in like, well, this is just his first couple of games because we did that back in September. And I know it's obviously his first couple of games, but it's just like the Falcons have already been playing. They've already played, a ton of games. They've already had their highs, their lows, their lefts, their rights. So it's just, the perceptions, everyone's on different levels right now. You're out of sync with what the expectations are for the team versus the quarterback play versus what the other rookies are doing at this point versus what they did in their weeks 1, 2, 3, 4. So it just becomes kind of a messy situation in terms of evaluating. And I'm excited to see how people evaluate him and do they give him the benefit of the doubt, and can he actually just start off hot because he got to sit for the first 10 plus weeks. You know, maybe that is enough to get him situated to kind of bypass some of these uglier games that we saw from, say, Bo Nix, Caleb, and Jaden, because they had to just start right away. I mean, you would imagine that if sitting out for a year is going to help you, then you're going to probably still have some of those moments, but ideally not as much, because otherwise then there would be really no point in having you sit, because it's like, if it doesn't benefit you, then like, why are you doing it? And like I said, I'm a firm believer that sitting does, without a doubt, benefit you. So, yeah, I think this is actually a slightly more risky decision than people might give credit for, honestly. Again, mainly because you're asking Penix to do a lot right now. You're asking him to essentially just start off at the end of the season, win some games. If he doesn't play great, he's going to take a lot of heat. He will. He just will. And he will take heat throughout the entire offseason. And even best case scenario, they win and the Buccaneers falter. His like fourth game of the season, the fourth game of his NFL career is not going to be a playoff game. And they'll have to go up against probably like a really good team, like the Packers or the Vikings. You know, like it's just you're asking a lot. You're definitely asking a lot. And there's absolute potential for someone like a Penix and the Falcons as a whole to be like rocked. Like, that is just the reality of the situation. We've seen that with endless quarterbacks. And it's not to say that it ruined them, because Jalen Hurts got rocked in 21, and then 22 he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl. So it's not like it's a death sentence for you. It's just I just want to lay out that, like, there is legitimate risk. And you just got to make sure that you have the culture, that you have the team, that you have the momentum, that if you face that adversity, that you'll be able to handle it and control it. You also have to believe in your quarterback. And I believe that Penix will be able to handle it. I believe he's a strong, individual. I don't see him as one of those people where you're like, we got to be, you got to treat him like he's fragile. We got to be careful. Like, I don't think that either, but it is still something worth talking about from my viewpoint. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Atlanta Falcons benching Kirk Cousins for Michael Penix Jr.? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.